What's up, everybody? We're back making another YouTube tier listing. It's been a minute. I think the last YouTube tier list that I did was the X-Men, which you can check out my YouTube video of ranking all the all the X-Men films. So yeah, if you'd be so kind to check that out. And of course, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to my YouTube channel, Patreon, Twitch, if you ever want to watch me live. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter as well whenever I'm live. So anyway, after I just wrapped up, well, technically it wrapped up all the Star Wars from Phantom Menace all the way up to Rise of Skywalker recently. But of course, there's also the Ahsoka series that's coming out next year, and then there's also currently going on the first 2 episodes of the Kenobi series that just started. And then of course they just announced the Andor series. I'll get to them when I get to them, but I want to make sure that I let you guys know, like I promised, how would I rank each of these shows and movies. So let's start off with Phantom Menace. Now, of course, when it came out, a lot of people were divided on like the prequel trilogy. And of course, all the stuff that I'm going over right now, you can check out my full spoiler reviews for, Clone Wars, all 7 seasons, Rebels, all 4 seasons, Resistance, all 2 seasons, Bad Batch, that, so far 1 season, and they just announced season 2 trailer just now, then also all the films. But Phantom Menace, I think it deserves B quality, because besides the whole kid situation, Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson really made this movie work, along with Darth Maul, really made this movie work more than they had any right to. And of course, the whole Jar Jar Binks of it all, it's like he had less, screen time as stuff went on into Revenge of the Sith, to the point where it's like, Attack of the Clones, he had 2 speaking lines in 2 scenes, and then he had no speaking lines in Revenge of the Sith, but only 1 on-screen thing at the end. So you can tell how people hated that character. But yeah, Phantom Menace is actually pretty B level. It's actually generally okay, very middle of the road. Then where is it? Attack of the Clones. Now I'm glad Hayden Christensen is getting another bite of the apple, because he had to work with crappy writing from the jump. Now it's okay, now without that issue, his acting quality is gonna be freaking top notch. I kid you not, because he was already great as an actor. And there's a Hayden Christensen movie that I will be doing a spoiler review within after next month, or at the end of next month of June. So look forward to that. But you get to see the whole Vader stuff peeking through, and the whole the foundation is being laid here. And of course, Ewan McGregor is awesome, and it's oh my god, it definitely deserves its due credit, despite certain writing dialogue, you know, the sand, because of course it gets everywhere kind of situation. And then like the chemistry that was not there with Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen. Despite all that, it's pretty decent. So once again, I'll put it below. Because, it wasn't these actors' fault that, George Lucas's writing is just like, I don't know. This is the same guy who made the original trilogy, so I'm not sure what the hell happened. Because on paper, it should seem right. But it just like, it just fell flat with him. I was like, I don't get it. Then you got Revenge of the Sith. I want to put this at A level. Because personally, I think it's like, because the culmination of what Anakin will be. I wanted to go through like in order with Clone Wars, but but it's pretty much the same thing, Clone Wars, because it really set the tone about like, because as I've gone through 7 seasons, as I mentioned, like you see this like psycho, like this hint of a psycho nature really peeking through, like something's trying to come out through Anakin. And you hear those little subtle tones of that Vader theme creeping in every time he loses his cool. It just like, it really like set the tone, and you get the feel of like Ahsoka and her stuff and what's going on with, Maul and Obi-Wan and even like Yoda is like, and these clone troopers, and it's like all this stuff, and it's like leading into like Revenge of the Sith and like how everything is turning tits up at this point, and it's just like it makes it that much awful that all this little war they went through amounted to nothing. Nobody won. And of course you got like the Kenobi series, and like I know this is a little premature, but so far I am digging it, except for one character. Slight spoilers. This character Ren, this black woman who seems so freaking try-hard, third sister, whatever. She seems so freaking try-hard, trying to be like, look at me, I'm bad, yeah. And like, I'm one Kenobi, yeah. And it's like, God, is this your first day in bad guy school or something? But aside that, so far I'm digging the Kenobi series, and it might be premature, but with Ewan McGregor at the helm and the guy who playing like Uncle Owen is like so far, and with the Hayden Christensen and Liam Neeson, we already know Liam Neeson is going to show up as a Force Ghost at some point. We haven't seen him yet. By this point in this video, we haven't seen him yet. We all know he's coming, probably at the last episode. But Hayden Christensen, we got so far as of right now of this video, we've only seen a glimpse of him in a bathtub tank, hearing that Vader breathing noise. But so far, I'm loving the Kenobi series, and I'm gonna put it so far right now, because like things could change, because only 6 episodes, so things can change after the season ends. So my opinion could change it to be an A level, but so far I want to put it at S level. And what else? We got Bad Batch. Now, this and Boba Fett, and I'll get to Endor in a little bit, but there are some shows that does not require, there's some characters that do not require to have like a freaking show on their own. And I'm hearing from a podcast, just the other day, people making the same comment, and it's like, because in Mandalorian, they wanted to make a show starring Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, until like Carano, said some very, I think, transphobic stuff at like a while back. But it's like, even that didn't happen. My beef here is like, I don't think, because it's like, just because a character really stood out doesn't mean they're relegated to have their own show about them. It's like saying like, oh, Mandalorian, we saw this bartender that had this like over in like Freedom Town that you had this good repertoire. Let's make a entire show about him. Why? Not everything needs a show. It's like, there's a lot of people's issue with like Marvel and Disney right now, because they flooding us with so many shows without just letting it stand, and let Disney Plus just stand by itself for a year or so. And it's like, you got so much stuff on there, let it sit and people enjoy this stuff, and then in the next year or year and a half come out with something new. It's like, you're not going to lose subscribers if you don't have something new every couple of months. But like, Bad Batch, I think even a little bit more so than Boba Fett and Andor, I think it offered still something. But I could have easily taken it or leave it regardless. But at least it's still, the characters offer us something that warrants its continuation. And I do love like the character of Omega, but like, I'm graded on a curve here, so I'm gonna give it B tier, but B minus easily. Then what else? And got Rebels. Now, I honestly, the first season sucked balls, honestly, but later stuff, it got only a teeny bit better each season, but still not enough, because like, it obviously was placated to like a certain demographic of kids when it was on Disney XD, but even still, it's like, Clone Wars, aired on Cartoon Network, and it still didn't make it seem like it's, I think like, Resistance is the most egregious one, but it's like, man, it's like, it could have done a little bit better. It's, I don't know, maybe it's just different showrunners, but I'll give Rebels D, because like, the good stuff is like, if they were stuck with the same principle as Clone Wars did, making like, no BS side quests, and have like certain arcs dedicated to like, I forgot the guys' names, but like, with like a Sabine arc, for 2 or 3 episodes dedicated to Sabine, then 2 or 3 episodes with Kanan Jarrus and his Padawan, or just Kanan Jarrus and the pilot and things like that. So that way, that's what made Clone Wars probably work more often than not, because they didn't go off on BS side quest. It's like there's like at least very minimum of those, because by and large it's just like arcs within the season. But when you get to like Jedi stuff, that's when things got interesting to me. And I know people like getting tired of all about like Jedi stuff, but not me, because that's the most interesting part. And sure, like every once in a while, like see some like Rebel Alliance stuff here and there, but it's like, I don't know. And then of course the Mandalorian stuff, but it's just like, maybe just like, you know, whoever's telling it is just not making it interesting. Solo. I put this at a C. It's very middle of the road for me, because like the actors involved doing a great job, especially the guy who's playing like the guy's playing Han Solo and oh god, what's his name? I'm blanking on his doggone name. Lando. And but it's just like, I wish it wasn't so bleak looking. It's like they took cues from like their early DCEU stuff, like, you know, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and you know, and like the first Suicide Squad, where it's like you can barely see what's going on. It's not that egregious, but it's still, it's like, you know, you can barely see stuff half the time. And of course, in general, I don't think anybody really wanted a Solo movie. No one really cares how Han Solo got his ship, or how he got his blaster, or his vest, or whatever. Nobody, honestly, at the bulk of it, didn't care. And like, a few of the people you think was gonna do like a ride along with him died in a first act very freaking quickly. And it's like, there's no point in casting big name actors in those things, like, you know, Danny Newton. I was like, okay, you bring her along just to kill her off in the first act. That was like, that's pointless. You might as well just give it the role to somebody who's, you know, not as famous, if they're not gonna be that important. It's like casting it's like, I don't know, casting, you know, Tom Hanks in a role in Star Wars, but then killing him off in the first 10 minutes. What's the point of bringing him on? Yeah, he should have more agency in the entire film, at least the bulk of the film, before you decide if you want to kill him off. But it's very middle of the road, and, you know, it's my first time seeing it when I was doing all these Star Wars reviews, and it's like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't waste any time going to theaters seeing this. Rogue One. I gotta be honest with you. In general, it's okay, but honestly, you know, it wasn't until like maybe like halfway through the third act, leading into the whole Vader hallway scene towards Leia scene, where it's like really, really put like a spring in my step so far as watching this film, because I understand it's the first time. Well, Clone Wars, obviously, and Rebels, but, you know, as far as film, I guess, is concerned, this is the first time you actually get in the thick of it. It's like it's a war, and you take out the whole Jedi stuff out of it. In the films, you got like an actual war with stakes and death and, you know, grim endings, and it did serve a purpose, but it's like, none of these characters, spoiler, none of these characters really make it through. That has nothing to do with the original series moving forward. And it's like, okay, well, what's the point once again? But still more of a point than like Solo. But it's like very middle of the road. Despite the awesome Vader scene, it's like, it's mad to me. People call it no. I'm going to the original series, A New Hope. honestly, it's like, personally, because I know people want to put Empire as like creme of the creme of not only Star Wars but movies in history, as far as like, great film, and it is. I'm not taking anything away from Empire, but I think like people sleep on New Hope and Return of the Jedi as far as like quality is concerned. But it's like, I'm gonna go right here, like Empire, and because all the three original trilogies are S tier right off the bat. I mean, it's so minimal plot holes in this. It's like, honestly, it's like, if you watch one, you can't help but like get into the other three. That's the mark of a good trilogy. It's like you got to watch all three. It's like these three particular chapters make an excellent book. Make a love, loss, the fantastical, fantasy of it and the sci-fi of it. Everything is like firing on all cylinders. And it's crazy to me how like Lucas, because around the same time frame of early, the late 70s, early 80s, there's other films that's trying to like do the Star Wars thing. Even sometimes, not even after Star Wars, but it's like along the same parallels that Lucas managed to beat everybody to the punch as far as like making like a great quality sci-fi movie that everybody else like seemed like they was trying to ape off it. Because honestly, look into, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of like Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of episodes that have film that they rip off of, by and large, are films that's trying to do a Star Wars thing, but either they was trying to make it at the same time that so funny that Lucas was doing the exact same thing, like great minds think alike kind of situation, that he was thinking parallel, but Lucas managed to make it not cheap and stupid, and the others kind of relegated to like those B movie 70s 80s films. Because honestly, if one of them tried to got there first, who knows how Star Wars is at this point. But then there's also get people who's trying to like ape off of Lucas because his stuff was so successful, so everybody else is trying to make their own Star Wars thing, and it did not work. But yeah, Mark Hamill, great character. Luke Skywalker is probably the most iconic movie hero in history. That's why I was so bummed out when they killed him off so pitifully, in my opinion, in Last Jedi. And you got The Mandalorian, S tier all the way. I mean, got Baby Yoda, the whole lone wolf cub thing situation, man. This and Logan probably they kind of did it the best. Just off the top of a lot of people says, these two did it the best. And Pedro Pascal is amazing, did an amazing job in this role. And it's like, God, it's like, it's like Boba Fett 2.0. If Boba Fett, because people put Boba Fett on such a high level for no reason, in my opinion, because he was relegated when he first introduced in Empire. He was relegated to be like a toy thing. But yeah, one line and he just looked cool, and it's like that's not enough to warrant him to have an own TV show, because people didn't like the way he kind of died like a little bitch in Return of the Jedi. But Mando is pretty much like the better version of him with some agency and some character growth. But yeah, I love The Mandalorian. It's phenomenal, easily one of the best TV shows that I've ever seen. It's right up there with the Daredevil TV series as far as quality TV, and Clone Wars. And of course then you got Book of Boba Fett, honestly, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna put it like bottom tier, mostly because it's like I said, I don't think he needs his own TV show. And if it, even you did do it, the way they did it, halfway, it just seems like it lacked something. I don't know. It's like what I go in full detail when my review of season 1 of Book of Boba Fett, but it's like you want to be a crime boss, and you want to be like a good crime boss, but then you, I don't know. And then it kind of started off slow. You spent too much time in the past. It's like it could have been relegated to just like one episode dedicated to like what he was doing to get him to this point after the Sarlacc pit. Then half the season is dedicated to people that we like better in previous stuff in The Mandalorian. Luke and Baby Yoda and Mando and like that cowboy in Freedom Town. It's like and then like you bring in also Cat Bane. It's like you forget about Boba Fett until like the last episode, or at least part of the last episode. And like it could have meant so much more if like you brought in the guy who played young Han Solo in the Solo movie, bring him in with like previously Han and Boba Fett had like a rivalry. You can have these two, bury the hatchet and fight together to help Tatooine or something like that. And of course, it's trying to do a backdoor pilot for Mandalorian so they can just jump right into season 3, so we'll know what they're after. I think that personally that was somewhat of a mistake, because people was talking more so about Mando stuff than Boba. Then Resistance. Even lower than Rebels, because at least Rebels didn't seem like a total kids show. You got like at least like in Rebels, the leads don't run off acting like goofy Three Stooges characters like the main lead in Resistance, where there was no growth with that character at all. It was so annoying, and like the pratfalls were not even funny. It was like Jar Jar level, maybe not that far, but it was reaching to points of Jar Jar level of stupid pratfalls that was not funny. And it's like I doubt any children who this was made for obviously would thought this was funny. And it's like, God, you're just like playing to a demographic that you think is like got an IQ level of 3. That's how I feel. It's very, very low tier. It's like, and it's supposed to like blend in Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and it's like you get that here and there towards like the beginning and end of these seasons, but it's like I didn't feel for any of these characters at all, aside from maybe like a couple, maybe 3 or 4 of them, but not that much. And don't get me started on Nico. God, he was like even worse. It's like that voice. It's like, oh my God. It's like I said, Jar Jar level of quality of annoyance. As like a very unfunny Drax Drax the Destroyer kind of level of annoyance. Okay. Force Awakens. Oh, before we get into this, can we please stop with these movie posters because check out like how many times in movie posters that you got this red and blue color scheme. Why do you do that? Check out like Avengers Endgame, I think Infinity War, but and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it's like this blue and red movie posters. Let me check this out. I bet you they got something here. Blue and red movie posters. Blade Runner. See that? And this is in the past like a good nearly a decade. Blade Runner. Force Awakens. What am I doing? Sonic 2. See that? Well, not Infinity War, but I thought it was Infinity War, but oh, I thought it was Endgame too. But it's like you get the feeling, it's like, it's like, what's up with these red and blue posters that people are doing? It's like, it's so weird. Stop that. There's more colors in the rainbow than those two. Anyway, I'll go off on a tangent, but it's like, it's so freaking annoying. It's like I don't know. It's like somebody is working on all these posters apparently, because that's the only two colors that you see. But Force Awakens. Alright, I want to put on the S tier because it's like it started off so strong in the sequel trilogy. Even though people was like, I think, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams kind of like avoid the whole situation that people complain about, and there's wrong takeaways that they got from this. But I also want to put some of the blame on the masses themselves, the public, who wanted to like complain about like, oh, they just rehashing New Hope. I'd rather them rehash like the original trilogy with a different spin on it rather than what we got, to be honest with you. Because we still love The Force Awakens despite the, New Hope feels you get from this. But like, what a hell of a start. Kylo Ren stopping like a blaster bolt in midair, and like, you're getting like Han Solo and like the great scenes he has with like Kylo Ren. Alan Driver doing like a fantastic job. Didn't really care for Snoke, but it's like, they could have made him Darth Plagueis or something rather than just like a know-nothing clone. BB-8 is amazing. Poe Dameron's amazing. Finn started off cool, but then he's like, nobody know what to do with him. But by and large, like, and Rey, Daisy Ridley is phenomenal. Everybody's doing like a just phenomenal job. I love Force Awakens. Amazing. Then you have like Last Jedi. And now, like, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, like, only saw them one time in theaters, both of them. And for these reviews, I rewatched them again the second time after years later, because I haven't gotten back to them in so long. And it's like, God, the stupid casino planet, and like the toxic fandom of those people who claim to be Star Wars fans and then sending off death threats to some of these actors because of certain scenes they didn't like or whatever. It was a whole thing. And I mentioned time and time again, they need to Snyder cut this shit with Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, because I know people want to, get away from the Skywalker family line and blah blah blah. I get it, but it shouldn't end on a piss poor note like it did. Because, we should have introduced Mara Jade. Luke having like a kid that Ben Solo and Rey can like, or Rey could like, teach, growing up, and then like, you don't have to worry about these people anymore, and like you can focus on other characters moving forward. But I'm gonna give Last Jedi a B, because despite how I feel, there were cool shots in this. But Rise of Skywalker, I relegated to a D. And the only reason I didn't give it an F, because the three things that I mentioned in my spoiler review of that movie is like the opening when, you know, Kylo Ren tracks down Palpatine, and Palpatine's in his head talking about like great audio work where it's like convincing Kylo, like, he faked the voice of Snoke and Vader. It's like, I've been the voice inside your head. And it's like, I thought that was great work. That sent chills down my spine in the theater. I was like, wow, that was intimidating. This dude was like been manipulating this kid for the longest time and like just placating to the voices that he just chose to listen to more often than anybody else. That was great. His turn back to Ben Solo and his, like, you can see, like, the certain antics that you can tell, like, yeah, that's Han Solo's kid just by certain movements. That was great. And then towards the end with Rey, when she's listened to the voices of all the previous Jedi that came before her, that was cool. But as I mentioned before, I would have forgave everything that's bad about this movie. I would have gave it like at least an A, because if they would have gotten the balls to just have the Force ghosts of all these previous Jedi that we've seen in the past come in as Force ghosts as like a Star Wars version of Avengers Endgame rather than the ship stuff, that would have meant so much more to see Yoda, Luke, Anakin, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, even somebody playing like a live version of Kanan Jarrus. Like, seeing all these previous Jedi, lending their strength to Rey, it would have, oh my God, that would have really made my day. But no, they didn't do that. Don't know why they didn't do that. You don't think like none of those actors wouldn't mind coming back for like a short little thing for this particular moment? But besides all that, none in Rise of Skywalker really worked for me. It was like a piss poor way of ending the Skywalker saga. And I know these two, Ahsoka and Andor series, haven't came out yet. And they're coming out like next year. And I gotta say, like, Rosario Dawson does a fantastic job as Ahsoka. And like, I have like, it's either A or S tier, but I'm gonna just say S tier right now because of who we all know we've seen so far with Rosario Dawson's role in Ahsoka, and she's doing like gangbusters, and they're gonna treat this show with the utmost care because they currently filming, but it's like they're gonna treat this with the utmost care and respect, and it's gonna do phenomenal. It's gonna break it's honestly gonna break Disney Plus app with so many people coming in just to see this show. But they also announced like Andor, and personally, like, I'm not gonna, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna watch the Andor series because like I don't think we need. This is like too much stuff. It's like needless stuff. I mean, like Bad Batch, Ahsoka, well, I want to say Mandalorian. Mandalorian is like, fairly like a newish, but we've seen Ahsoka and Bad Batch stuff and previous stuff in like Clone Wars, and they earned their way for so long or at least not, that long. It's like you seen like a couple episodes with the Bad Batch, but it's like they had more reason to have like their own show. Like I said, I could take it or leave it, but Ahsoka definitely earned her spot to have her own show. Andor is based off the guy from like the spy 5 years prior to the events of Rogue One, and it's like no shade on the actor himself, but it's like why, like it's like I don't see the need. This is why people complain about it's too much stuff to consume, and it's like you should relegate the stuff that's like have something to do with the main movie original trilogy or sequel trilogy or something like that, or make something completely new like they did with Mandalorian with Din Djarin, that felt after the original trilogy or before the sequel trilogy or after the sequel trilogy, but with characters that we gotten to know for a significant amount of time that earn a reason to have their own stuff for us to follow. But you're just giving TV shows just randomly to characters, and it's like nobody's gonna watch all this stuff. It's too much. You should minimize it to stuff that's actually, characters actually earn their own show. Like I would have think it would have been like a better show, a TV show starring Rey Palpatine. And it's like, set after the sequel trilogy and see what's she's got going on. Or Poe Dameron. Poe Dameron would have, been like a better TV series. What's going on with him after the events of the sequel trilogy? Because from like Rise of Skywalker, we find out that he used to be a spice runner. And like have like a adventure of him, like a 6 episode describing like what's his past coming back to haunt him, and he's dealing with that kind of thing, and Finn show up every once in a while to help out or something like that. Poe's earned a TV series. Andor, he was like a one-off character that people wasn't really gonna go get attached to, especially after he died. But given like the showrunners and the writers involved, I imagine it'll do decent for a significant amount of people. For me personally, I'm gonna give it. Well, I had to give it like a D. Just to be fair, I'm gonna put it like a middle of the road. It's like probably gonna be a middle of the road kind of stuff. I'm gonna catch highlights, but by and large, I'm not gonna really care about Andor. It's like, why? But that's my tier listing so far. S tier: Kenobi, the original trilogy, Mandalorian, The Force Awakens, Ahsoka. I'm just gonna say Ahsoka's gonna be S tier, no doubt about it. Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, A tier in my book. B tier: Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Bad Batch, Last Jedi. C: Solo, Rogue One, Andor. This could change, so something might wow me by Andor, but I doubt it. Honestly, like I said, I'm not going to watch it. I'll catch highlights. D tier: Rebels, Rise of Skywalker. And F: Book of Boba Fett and Resistance. But let me know in the comments below how would you guys rank all these Star Wars movies and TV series? And convince me why you think Andor will probably be like a stellar show or something like that. And why Resistance is better than I'm giving it credit for. Or Rebels, why is it better than I'm giving it credit for? And yeah, I will see you guys possibly tomorrow, maybe the next day, for more Marvel Ultimate Alliance walkthrough. And I after I'm done, I'm considering going back to restart a walkthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but for the PS5 instead of the PS4, like I previously had it. So yeah, because I really want to get back into that world, and now that I know certain things better, I think I'll do a better, and this time I'll have like better audio quality than I did previously, because I don't think I had like good audio or audio setup period during my PlayStation 4 walkthrough of FF7 Remake. So it'll be kind of fun to get back into it with better setup this time. So there's probably gonna be some point in June I'll get into that, especially after the PlayStation Showcase coming up at the end of the week. Then obviously it's been heavily hinted that there will be some massive announcement with FF7 Remake Part 2. So I think it's like fitting. So anyway, look forward to discussion videos involving the PlayStation Showcase and another one involving the Xbox Showcase a couple weeks from now. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.